She was escorted to the executive floor. When the elevator doors opened, she saw hundreds of employees standing respectfully as Ethan walked past. The same man she had called a failure. The same man she'd forced to apologize to Ryan. The same man she'd never truly valued. Rain poured heavily across London's glittering streets. Inside a tiny rented flat in East London, Ethan Blackwood sat quietly at a worn dining table. To the world, Ethan was a struggling accountant barely making enough money to survive. At least, that was what his wife believed. Across town, Ethan secretly owned Blackwood Global Holdings, a billion-pound empire that controlled luxury hotels, technology firms, and real estate throughout Europe. For 3 years, he had hidden his wealth. For one reason: to find out if the woman he loved truly loved him. Unfortunately, the answer was becoming clearer every day. His wife, Vanessa, was changing. And not for the better. The apartment door burst open. Vanessa entered laughing. Behind her walked a handsome man carrying expensive shopping bags. "Baby, we're home," she shouted. Ethan looked up. Again. The same man. Ryan. Her so-called male best friend. Vanessa barely acknowledged Ethan. Instead, she sat beside Ryan on the couch. They laughed, shared private jokes, and completely ignored Ethan. "Can you make us coffee?" Vanessa asked her husband. Ryan smirked. Ethan quietly stood. But inside, he felt something breaking. As Ethan served coffee, Ryan intentionally stretched his leg. Ethan stumbled. The coffee spilled onto Ryan's designer jacket. "What the hell?" Ryan yelled. Vanessa jumped up, her face filled with anger. Not toward Ryan. Toward Ethan. "You idiot." Ethan froze. "Vanessa, he tripped me." "No, he didn't." Ryan nodded dramatically. "He ruined my jacket." Then Vanessa said words Ethan would never forget. "Apologize." Ethan stared at her. "You want me to apologize? Now?" For the first time, Ethan saw exactly where he ranked in his own marriage. Below Ryan. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. Instead, he opened a secure application on his phone. Weeks earlier, he had installed hidden cameras inside the apartment. Not because he was controlling. Because he had started noticing strange behavior. The footage began playing. Then his blood ran cold. The moment he left for work every morning, Ryan arrived. Every single day. 4 hours. Sometimes longer. And Vanessa always looked happier when Ethan wasn't there. The next afternoon, Ethan received a call. "Sir, the board meeting is ready." It was his personal assistant. The only person who knew the truth. "How are things with Mrs. Blackwood?" she asked carefully. Ethan looked through the office window overlooking London. "Getting worse." "Do you want us to investigate Ryan?" Ethan paused. Then answered. "Yes." What he didn't know was that Ryan was hiding a secret even bigger than Vanessa's betrayal. That evening, Ethan arrived home carrying flowers. Vanessa barely looked at them. But when Ryan entered moments later carrying a small gift box, her eyes sparkled. Inside was a cheap bracelet. Yet she acted as though he'd handed her diamonds. She hugged him tightly. Far longer than necessary. Ethan watched silently. Then Vanessa looked at him. "Why are you staring?" "Because my wife looks happier receiving a cheap bracelet from another man than flowers from her husband." But Ethan said nothing. 3 days later, Ethan's investigators delivered a report. The first page shocked him. Ryan was drowning in debt. Over £700,000. Credit cards. Loans. Gambling. Luxury spending. But then Ethan reached page 7. His hands froze. Ryan had been asking questions. Questions about Ethan. Questions about money. Questions about hidden assets. Someone was hunting for Ethan's secret. One Saturday morning, Vanessa made an announcement. "Ryan is staying with us for a week." Ethan nearly choked. What? His apartment is being renovated. Ryan smiled. Hope that's okay, buddy. Buddy. Ethan's own home suddenly felt like a prison. Over the next few days, Ryan acted like he owned the place. He ate Ethan's food, used Ethan's belongings, sat in Ethan's favorite chair, and every time Ethan complained, Vanessa defended Ryan, every single time. Late one night, Ethan walked past the guest room. Ryan's door wasn't fully closed. Inside, Ryan was texting someone. A message flashed on the screen. Ethan caught only a few words. Once she gets access, we'll take everything. The husband is clueless. Ethan's heartbeat exploded. Who were they talking about? Vanessa, him, or both? The next morning, Ethan sat inside his penthouse office overlooking the London skyline. His assistant placed another report before him. This one contained photographs. Photographs of Vanessa and Ryan together, holding hands, entering luxury restaurants, meeting secretly, sharing hotel rooms. The evidence was undeniable. His wife wasn't merely disrespecting him, she was betraying him. Ethan closed the file. For 3 years he had pretended to be poor. For 3 years he had waited for genuine love. Now he was finished waiting. A cold smile appeared on his face, because neither Vanessa nor Ryan knew one thing. The poor husband they mocked owned half the city. And his revenge was about to begin. Ethan spent the entire night reviewing financial records. Then he found something alarming. A joint bank account. Not between husband and wife, between Vanessa and Ryan. Thousands of pounds had been transferred into it over the last year. But what shocked him most was where the money came from. Vanessa had been secretly taking funds from Ethan's personal savings. Small amounts. So small he never noticed. Until now. The next morning, Ryan rushed into the apartment pretending to be distressed. Vanessa, I need help. She immediately abandoned breakfast with Ethan. What happened? Ryan claimed loan sharks were after him. He needed £20,000 immediately. Vanessa turned toward Ethan. You have some savings, right? Ethan stared at her. She wanted him to save another man. The same man spending every day in their home. When Ethan refused, Vanessa became furious. You're selfish. Ryan shook his head dramatically. It's okay, Vanessa. I understand. For the first time, Ethan realized something. Ryan wasn't simply manipulating Vanessa. He was using her. That afternoon, a luxury Rolls-Royce stopped outside the apartment building. Vanessa nearly fainted. A sophisticated older woman stepped out. It was Ethan's grandmother, Eleanor Blackwood. One of the most powerful businesswomen in Britain. Vanessa had never met her before. Fortunately, because Eleanor knew exactly who Ethan really was. Ethan quickly met her outside. You shouldn't be here. Eleanor smiled. How much longer will you continue this game? Ethan looked toward the apartment window. Vanessa was watching. I need a little more time. Eleanor's expression darkened. I hope it's worth it. The investigators uncovered more information. Ryan wasn't after Vanessa. Not really. He was after money. Years ago, Ryan had heard rumors about a mysterious billionaire who secretly lived among ordinary people. He became obsessed. Then he met Vanessa. After learning she was married to Ethan, he began digging. He suspected Ethan was hiding something. What he didn't know was that his suspicion was absolutely correct. A week later, Ryan arrived with an expensive diamond necklace. Vanessa was stunned. Ryan, this must have cost a fortune. Ryan smiled. You're worth it. Vanessa hugged him, right in front of Ethan. Then she looked at her husband. See? Some men know how to treat women. Ethan said nothing. But privately, he ordered an investigation into the necklace. Hours later, the truth emerged. The necklace wasn't purchased. It was stolen. That evening, Ethan listened to newly recovered audio recordings. Vanessa and Ryan were talking. Then he heard Vanessa say, I wish Ethan was more successful. Ryan laughed. If he disappeared tomorrow, your life would improve. Ethan froze. Then came the most painful sentence. I know. His own wife had agreed. For several minutes, Ethan simply sat there in silence. At Blackwood Global headquarters, hundreds of executives gathered. The company was preparing for the largest acquisition in its history. When Ethan entered the boardroom, everyone stood. Some of the richest people in Europe waited for his instructions. The same man who slept in a tiny apartment. The same man Vanessa called a failure. The contrast was almost unbelievable. Yet Ethan's thoughts remained focused on one person. His wife. Vanessa announced she wanted everyone to have dinner together, including Ryan. Throughout the meal, Ryan mocked Ethan repeatedly. His clothes. His career. His income. Each joke made Vanessa laugh harder. Then Ryan deliberately spilled wine on himself. Immediately he pointed at Ethan. He pushed me. Vanessa slammed her hand on the table. Apologize right now. Ethan slowly stood. The restaurant became silent. Instead of apologizing, he walked away. For the first time. When Ethan returned home later that night, Vanessa confronted him. What's wrong with you lately? Ethan almost laughed. After months of disrespect, she finally noticed something. Nothing. But Vanessa had begun seeing strange signs. Luxury cars occasionally followed Ethan. Important-looking people greeted him respectfully. His phone often rang with calls he refused to explain. For the first time, doubt entered her mind. Who exactly had she married? The next secret arrived unexpectedly. One of Ethan's investigators called. Sir, you need to see this. Photos appeared on Ethan's screen. Ryan had been meeting another woman. Not secretly. Regularly. The photographs showed kissing. Holding hands. Entering hotel suites together. Ryan wasn't loyal to Vanessa. He was cheating on her too. The man she constantly defended. The man she chose over her husband. The man she trusted. Was playing her exactly the way she had played Ethan. And Ethan knew something explosive was coming. Because he had just learned the identity of Ryan's mysterious girlfriend. She was a journalist. Investigating billionaire scandals. And she had just discovered the name. Blackwood. The journalist, Chloe Mercer, sat in her London office staring at a file. At first, she had been investigating Ryan's debts and suspicious dealings. But during her investigation, one name kept appearing. Blackwood. The name belonged to one of Britain's most secretive billionaire families. Then she found an old photograph. Her eyes widened. The man standing beside the chairman of Blackwood Global was Ethan. Vanessa's poor husband. Suddenly, everything made sense. Ryan received an anonymous message. Attached was a photograph. Ethan exiting Blackwood Global's headquarters through a private executive entrance. Ryan nearly dropped his phone. No. He zoomed in. The image was unmistakable. The poor husband he'd mocked for years had access to one of the most powerful corporations in Europe. Panic flooded him. If Ethan was who Ryan suspected he was, then Ryan had made a terrible mistake. A very expensive mistake. The next day, Vanessa was cleaning a drawer when she found an old document. She almost ignored it. Then she noticed the name. Ethan James Blackwood. The surname struck her immediately. Blackwood. The same name she'd seen on skyscrapers across London. The same name on luxury hotels. The same name on financial magazines. Her hands trembled. Surely it couldn't be the same family. Could it? That evening, Ethan arranged for evidence to be delivered anonymously to Vanessa. Inside the envelope were photographs. Ryan with another woman. Ryan entering luxury hotels. Ryan kissing her. Ryan laughing while Vanessa was nowhere in sight. Vanessa stared at the pictures. Then another document fell out. A transcript. Ryan's own words. Vanessa is useful. Once I get what I need, I'll leave. Vanessa's face turned white. For months she had defended him, humiliated her husband for him, chosen him over her marriage, and all along, Ryan had been using her. At Blackwood Global headquarters, executives gathered urgently. The company's acquisition had made headlines worldwide. Reporters filled the entrance. Television cameras lined the streets, and standing at the center of it all was Ethan. Perfectly dressed in a custom-tailored suit. confident, powerful, untouchable. The image appeared on national television. At home, Vanessa looked up. The coffee cup slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. Because the billionaire being interviewed was her husband. Vanessa drove across London in tears. She arrived at Blackwood Global's headquarters. Security immediately recognized her. Mrs. Blackwood. Her knees nearly buckled. They knew her. Not as Ethan's struggling wife, but as the wife of their billionaire owner. She was escorted to the executive floor. When the elevator doors opened, she saw hundreds of employees standing respectfully as Ethan walked past. The same man she had called a failure. The same man she'd forced to apologize to Ryan. The same man she'd never truly valued. Ethan sat calmly inside his office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. Vanessa entered. Her eyes were red from crying. "You lied to me." Ethan looked at her quietly. "For 3 years." Then he asked a question. "Did I lie about loving you?" Vanessa couldn't answer. Because despite everything, Ethan had always loved her. Always supported her. Always remained faithful. He continued. "I wasn't testing your ability to love money." His voice was calm. "I was testing whether you could love me without it." The silence that followed was devastating. Meanwhile, police arrived at Ryan's luxury apartment. Investigators had uncovered financial fraud, identity theft, stolen property, and multiple scams. Ryan attempted to flee, but there was nowhere left to run. As officers placed him in handcuffs, his phone buzzed. One final message appeared. It was from Vanessa. 3 words. "Never contact me." His entire plan had collapsed. Vanessa believed she had discovered every truth. She was wrong. Ethan opened a drawer. Inside was a folder. "There's one more thing." Vanessa slowly opened it. Inside were hundreds of pages. Letters, journal entries, photographs. For 3 years, Ethan had documented every special moment of their marriage. Every birthday, every anniversary, every dream they shared. Even during her betrayal, he had been planning a future with her. Vanessa broke down completely. Because she finally understood the depth of what she had destroyed. Several weeks later, London buzzed with headlines. Ryan was facing prison. Blackwood Global continued expanding. And Ethan remained one of the most powerful men in Britain. One evening, he stood alone on the rooftop of his tallest skyscraper. The city lights stretched endlessly before him. The city he owned. The empire he built. The wealth he had hidden. Vanessa approached quietly. Not as a woman seeking money. Not as someone chasing status. But as someone carrying regret. "Ethan." He turned. Tears filled her eyes.
I'm so sorry.
I never stopped loving you. For a second.
For a long moment, neither spoke. The wind swept across the London skyline. Finally, Ethan answered. "Some mistakes can be forgiven." Vanessa's heart lifted. Then he continued. "But trust has to be rebuilt." For the first time in years, she understood the difference. Love could survive betrayal. Trust could not easily. As the lights of London shimmered below, Vanessa looked at the man she had nearly lost. The man she had underestimated. The man she had humiliated. The billionaire who pretended to be poor. And she realized the greatest thing she had lost wasn't his money. It was the unconditional love of a man who would have given her the world.
Subscribe and turn on your notification button for more of these beautiful stories.